Good morning. I'm Conor and I believe that sometimes loving something means being able to let go. Anne Landers, a famous advice columnist, once said, "Some people believe that holding on and hanging in there are signs of great strength. However, there are times when it takes much more strength to know when to let go and then do it." 6 months ago, I had no idea what this meant. But the passing of my dog Cricket made me realize this. His whole life, my dad had wanted a black Labrador, and Cricket was the one. Cricket was the first child in our family. She was the start of it all. 15 years ago, a good family friend of ours found an abandoned 4-month-old black lab puppy tied to a fence outside an elementary school. Our friend called my parents, who at the time had no children but were considering getting a dog. They immediately said that they would take her, and they both left work to go rescue her. Because she was the first child, when I came along 2 years later, Cricket watched over me like every big sister should. If she thought that someone or something could potentially hurt me, then she would go bark at my mom to come and help me. After 15 great years with us, Cricket started to get old and sick. She had tumors and arthritis in her spine, and it pained her to walk or move. As much as I knew it was the right thing to do, I didn't want to let my older non-human sister and best friend go. I knew she was suffering, and I knew that she'd be better off with God, but I didn't want to admit it. Reality slapped me in the face about 4 months ago. My mom told me that Cricket's days were numbered, and that she didn't have much time left with us. This was really hard for me to accept, because ever since I was able to walk, I took Cricket on walks every day. And as soon as I could scoop out her food from her container, I fed her twice a day. Not having this routine and these so-called chores was starting to creep into my thoughts. I knew my life would never be the same. In those last days, every time I pet Cricket or walked by her dish, tears would start streaming down my face and I would start crying uncontrollably. But in her last few days, I also realized that her death would free her from her suffering. This took a lot of strength for me to accept. I wasn't ready to say goodbye, and I wasn't ready to just let go of my best friend. But when I realized that letting her go meant that she'd be freed from her pain, I decided that because I loved her so dearly, I had to find the strength to let her go. I knew that when she went up to heaven to be with God, that she would be able to live the carefree puppy life that she used to enjoy. We don't really know what awaits us after death, but we can use our imaginations to consider it, just like Cynthia Ryder mentioned in her book, Dog Heaven. Using our imaginations is one way we can be close to God, who created everything and made us in His image as created people. Imagining the rainbow bridge from the book Dog Heaven, the bridge between heaven and the real world where pets who have died are rejuvenated and become young again, gave me comfort, because I knew that when I said goodbye to Cricket, it wasn't really goodbye. I knew that for a fact, when my time came, she would be waiting for me at the Rainbow Bridge, making sure that nothing could possibly put me in harm's way, waiting for me to take her on a long walk, for me to feed her once again, and for me to chuck the tennis ball as far as I could just so that she could bring it back. In the scripture that Luke read for us, Paul says that the Christian's present sufferings were not worth comparing to the glory God would reveal, and that God works for the good of those who love Him. Here, Paul's talking about the Christians who were being persecuted by the Roman authorities and would not betray their beliefs. They did this so that others would come to believe in Jesus. Cricket wasn't being persecuted. She just got old, as all of us will. But I still take comfort in Jesus' promise of a happy, heavenly future. God made us in His own image, but God also made us mortal. Like Cricket, we will all grow old and die. But I have also realized that we shouldn't be afraid of this, because I believe that this is when we will get to see God and be reunited with our loved ones. Others I love will get old and die like Cricket. I hope I will have the chance to say goodbye to those people, like I did my dog. Letting go of Cricket has helped me to trust that everyone I love will go to be with God, and I know that one day I will join them. Even when I think about my own death, I'm not as afraid, because I truly do believe that I will see God, my family, friends, and dog again. And that is why I believe that sometimes loving something means being able to let go. Thank you.